Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Australia. And today I got a new project for you. It is a fun fold card, and it comes from Lisa Curcio. And let me show you. Here's one that I made yesterday, and it is really fun. It opens up like that. And it's pretty cool. Hello, Gladys and Paula. Thanks for joining me today. And Mom, thanks for joining me. Here we go. This is, I'm going to make a different version of this card. Like I said, it's called a double gatefold accordion, or accordion double gatefold card, I think is what she calls it. Because we've got this gatefold on the base, and then this accordion's out. So, I'm just going to show you really fast because I've talked about this before, but when I make especially a fun fold card like this that I've never done before, I do at least one, if not two, mock-ups with retired cardstock. And so I did one according to Lisa's template in inches, which is this one. And I just made notes on it about what she said for the measurements. And then there's the accordion piece. And then I went from there and adjusted it to work with our A4 cardstock in centimeters. And really the only thing I had to change was the only thing I did change on this one was the height of it. So that use the 14.9 like we're used to. So I did the same thing, and that's how I came up with the template for this. And so I have all of my pieces cut, so I'm going to show you how I scored and assembled this one. Sorry about the stand there. So for this one I am using, so this one, Paul, I like this one a lot too. This is using the Tags and More designer series paper, and I don't have a lot of this left because I did a full day stamp camp where we made lots and lots of cards with it. So I pieced that one together from that, and this uses the laser die cuts, or the laser cut pieces. I had some left I was able to use there. And this one I'm going to be using Traditions of Christmas designer series paper, so different colorway. So I've got Old Olive here, and for the base, let's bring in my notes here. So this is 14 by 9 by 24 centimeters, and you score on each side the same way. I find it easier to score something really small like 1 centimeter using this side of the scoreboard. So I'm going to do that, or the trimmer, for both sides, and then 1 and then 6.5. I will stick measurements in my blog post. And probably a link to Lisa's tutorial as well, because I'm lazy, and she has got a really great tutorial with a nice, it's got a link to a video, and it's got this nice diagram and everything. So why reinvent the wheel? So I got 4 score marks on that piece, and then we're going to do this one. This is 8 centimeters wide by 27 centimeters long. And again, on each side, we're scoring at 5.4 and 10.8. 5.4, 10.8. So now I've got 5 even sections of that. So I can put this away now because, like I said, everything else is cut. So I'm going to bring in my bone folder. If you are not crafting with your bone folder, what's wrong with you? Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but it just makes your folds nice and crisp and easy to use. Okay, so there's that one. We're actually going to be using it like that, I believe. And then this one. Okay, so there's our double gate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to bring in a pencil. And I'm really just eyeballing this. I want this centered. I want it as straight as I can, centered. And I'm just going to make a pencil mark there and a pencil mark there. Because if you see, we don't have those little flaps sticking up. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off everything above and below those 2 tabs. I did this one by hand, my first one. I'm going to try it on the trimmer. So I do still need my trimmer here, because I was less than excited with the results of my hand cutting. And these tabs do not have to be a precise size. You just need something for your accordion pieces to hold onto. So this is my guide, but it's okay if I go a bit further. There we go. And now I am going to use my snips to come in and cut off. Come here. There we go, to make these tabs. You see that? We'll do the same thing on this side. And I don't know that they need to be angled. It just seems easy to me to do it that way. And now we're going to double check here. See, they're not exactly lined up, but that's okay because you are not going to see them, because this one is going to adhere on there. And this one's going to go on here. Yep. Okay, so that is it for making the bases. So once you know what you're doing, and get it all cut. It's not, well, the assembly is not so hard. There's lots of cutting because there's lots of layers. I'm going to bring in the papers I'm using for this. Now, this is going to go on the back here. And you could make these more contrasting, you know, very different papers. I seem to be into a monochrome phase at the moment. So there we go. That one on there, and then I've got, let's get these out of the way. And then I've got, for these 4 panels, I have 4 layers. I really like this designer series paper. I'm doing lots of stuff with it. And it's rare for me to buy more than 1 pack. I didn't cut it the right length. Which one didn't I cut the right length? The white. Oh, is all of it cut the wrong length? Guess that one, huh? Anyway, what I was trying to say was I've actually bought a 2nd pack of this designer series paper, and I almost never buy 2 packs of a paper. So there you go. So what's going on with you guys? You guys have all kinds of political stuff going on. We've had a little bit of political stuff going on here in Victoria. Our roughly Republican equivalent party, the Liberals, had a leadership coup yesterday. And the guy who's been in the office for 11 months as opposition leader got booted out. And a young woman has taken his place, which can only be for the good. As Glenn says, the only bad part is that she's likely to give our female Labor leader, who's currently the premier, a run for her money in the election next year, but oh well. And then just getting my measurement right, 5. The Liberal leader in the national side of things, the federal side, she's also been undergoing a few challenges recently and has had to do some stuff to hold on to her position that is not going to endear her to most Australians in the next election, probably. So, anyway, that's fun and exciting. I saw that in the States, this Congress has finally done the right thing regarding the Epstein files, but we'll see what comes of that. So yeah, I've been all caught up in politics recently. Okay, let's get these mounted. So you may have noticed, even though my card is going to be portrait, vertical, I'm working on the horizontal, and that is because I think it is easier to see when you've got things lined up and straight, when you can look in this orientation. At least for me, my eyes work better. And I am kind of keeping an eye on the pattern of the paper. So that it aligns across as best we can. So that's the inside. And we'll get the outside. I know, I shouldn't talk about politics on here, right? We can go back to talking about the weather. We're still having cooler temps than normal for this season, which is fine by me. I don't like it hot. But it's going to be a little bit warmer today and then cool off again tomorrow. I'm sure the really hot weather is coming. Okay, there is our base. Done. Now, we'll bring in this one and all of these bits and bobs. So, this is, again, same colors, different patterns. We've got 5 of these. And 5 of these. Last night, I was working on these while I was on a very long Zoom session with Kylie, my upline, and some other sister demos. We were going through the upcoming new January to April mini catalog and talking about what we liked and what was going to go into our shopping carts for pre-order, which started yesterday, today, depending on where in the world you are. Gladys, have you looked at it yet? Anyway, we each found things that we liked, which is good. Oh, you placed a small order. Yeah, I haven't ordered yet. I'm still mulling over my options. Okay, so let's get this right for how we want it on here. Remember, we're going to go like that and like that. So this side up. It's not a big deal. We can always just turn it around, but because this designer series paper doesn't matter if it's up or down. Yeah, being sure that you can cut out in the right orientation for all the pieces when you pick your designer series paper is a very crucial step. If you don't do that, you could wind up being surprised with what you get. So for those of you, I know I have a new customer that's probably going to be watching this on replay. So shout out to Marcy, who has just placed an order with me and has expressed interest in watching these videos. You may notice when I'm using my glue, I'm holding it at a bit of an angle. I'll show you on the next one. So I hold it at an angle, not straight up and down, because I don't want to block that hole. But so I'm holding it at an angle, and I'm doing a very small bead, and I'm coming in about 1/2 centimeter or 1/4 of an inch, so that when I press it down, it's less likely to ooze out. And you think if a little bit of glue is good, a lot is better, and this is just not true. You really do want to keep it pretty minimal. It holds really well. It's one reason we really like this glue. And more if you get your paper too wet with it, it'll warp, and it's just more likely to ooze and go everywhere, and you'll have a big gluey mess and be very unhappy. So that's all of these panels done. Now, you could decorate every single one of them. I am not going to. I didn't on this one. I just did the first one in the middle, and that's what I'm going to do on this one too. I am going to stamp on this first one, and I have, these are just going to fit on here. I have Merry and Bright. And here's some stamping tips for my new stamper. So when you're going to ink up, you want to just tap it very gently, multiple times. And with the clear stamps, you can see when you've got a pretty good coating. You want to be sure not to like push really hard, because then you'll get ink on your block. Make sure you can see that. Ink on the block, ink all around the stamp, and you're more likely to get stray ink places you don't want it. So you're trying to just barely touch repeatedly. So I hope you can see that. Yes, you could put photographs on this section. Absolutely, that's a good idea. Just would have to, yeah, print them out the right size, obviously, but it's pretty small. But you could do pictures. Just double checking. Yeah. Perhaps without mats. Or again, it just depends if you can custom print them. There you go. Okay, so there's Mary. And Bright. I'm going to close up my stamp set. I always clean off my stamps and close up my stamp set as soon as I'm done, because I've had way too many accidents happen. So I'm going to glue that one on this first panel. And then this one is going to stay blank because I might sign my name on there at some point. And then I fussy cut these out of one of the pieces of Designer Series paper. And for this, I'm just going to use, this is different glue technique. I'm squeezing till I just get that glue to have a little bead at the tip, and I'm touching it down just to do little dots. Again, it doesn't take much to hold it down, and it's really easy to get it oozing out in a way you don't want. There's that, and I'm going to add this one. Right there. Okay, and now I'm going to bring this in to add it to the base. So, tear and tape is the thing to do here. Again, you could use glue, but I think tear and tape is better for this. Yeah, part of the discussion yesterday, Gladys, was that yeah, a lot of people felt like there wasn't a whole lot that was calling their name. But like I said, all of us found something that we liked. So that's good. And we certainly have plenty of stuff already in our stashes, don't we? So the best way I found to do this is I'm pulling off the right side. And now I'm going to, again, line this up. Sorry, I just want to make sure. There we go. Centered as possible, straight as possible, which may or may not have happened. And so now it's attached on this side. And now I'm going to pull off on this side and close this up like that and press that down. And voila, it is down. Now, I'm going to bring my bone folder back in because we're going to strengthen that bond by burnishing that tab with the adhesive. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Just like that. And guess what? There we go. You can get in there and write something if you want. You could add more white panels. You could add a panel back here if you wanted to write, you know, an entire book to somebody. But look how cool that is to stand up and display. Yes, I find, Gladys, when I look, the more I look and the more I see samples, the more I like a number of things. You know, things that may leap out to me in the catalog as being things I don't like get muted down, and things that I do like come to the fore. So that's good. You could add embellishments if you wanted to, but I like that little bit of gold on there. I'm happy with it just like that. I don't think it needs anything else. So these are my 2 of these. I may make some more of these because they're pretty fun. Nice impact. Realized the one thing I didn't double check was whether they would fit. Yeah, there's plenty of room in the envelopes. Okay, never mind, not a worry. Yeah, so that's it for today. I will be back same time, same place next week. This will be on my next blog post, which you can find at nancysniftynotes.com. If you have any questions or suggestions or need help ordering with me or finding a demonstrator where you are, if you're not in Australia, just reach out to me, Nancy at nancysniftynotes.com, or through Facebook Messenger, through this page. I would be happy to help you however I can. And yeah, like I said, thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.